Third POV. May pressed the play button for the next fight. A few seconds of waiting occurring before the video played. When you think of an electrically charged combatants, these two always come to mind. We started the video. These two really know how to charge up a battlefield. Boomstick added. Hey Midoriya, think you can write that pun down for me? Kaminari asked. Might want to use that later. Sure. Izuku was interrupted, along with his hand from writing, looking to see Kyuka's hand covering his mouth and her jacks around his wrist. No, Kyuka simply said. But the tone of her voice Izuku was sure meant that there was no point in arguing. Pikachu, the electric mouse Pokemon, and the mascot of Pokemon itself, was revealed the first fighter. And Blanka, Street Fighter's man-beast of Brazil. Boomstick introduced the second. I got to be Pikachu, Kaminari muttered, his feet tapping impatiently. I just got to be. You said you were sure you were Thor or Raiden, and look what happened. Mineta replied. I know, but this time is different. Kaminari responded. I can feel it in my bones. Well, I'll just be here, waiting for the inevitable money I win in this bet. Mineta replied smugly. I can't believe that we actually have a Pokemon fighting in death battle. Uraraka said. And Pikachu no less. Well, we already had the Mega Man franchise, another video game franchise, appear before in Dr. Eggman vs. Dr. Wily. So I'm not that surprised that Pokemon is in this either. Shui replied. I'm Wizard and he's Boomstick, and it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor and skills, to find out who would win a death battle. Wiz ended the intro. The first fighter shown was a barely 1.5 foot tall creature with yellow and black fur. Most of its small body was covered in yellow fur, from its torso to its tiny arms and even tinier feet. Its back had 2 lines of brownish fur, as well as the beginning of its lightning bolt-shaped tail, the end of the tail rectangular. The Pokemon's head was circular with 2 black eyes and 2 prominently featured red patches on his cheeks that seemed to spark electricity. Atop his head were 2 big ears, the tips of the ears colored in black fur. The Pokemon looked like a yellow rat to Ida, Momo, and Todoroki, the 3 who did not play much video games. But the electric mouse Pokemon was clearly recognizable to 99% of the group. Even Endeavor recognized the mascot of the Pokemon Company, remembering how he had to bear promoting some event of the video game franchise as to boost his popularity with the kids, or at least that's what one of his agents told him. The students were excited to see the popular Pokemon of the largest and continuing video game franchise in history, the most excited of which were Kaminari and Koda, both big fans of Pokemon, and the former constantly called a Pikachu or Piku. Is this one of the Pokemon that are of that game you mentioned you would let me borrow, Midoriya? Todoroki asked. Oh my god. Mina gaped in horror. If he doesn't even know about Pikachu. I just can't. Yes, it is Todoroki. Izuku replied. It's actually the most famous one. Ah, I see. Todoroki nodded, understanding a bit as to why Mina looked so stunned. Pikachu. Standing barely over 1 foot tall and weighing less than a newborn baby, Pikachu is the quick-footed electric mouse Pokemon. We started. And since there are over thousands of different Pikachus, for this death battle we are using the most popular and powerful of its kind, the Pikachu belonging to the Pokemon trainer known as Ash Ketchum. Oh, that's so cool! Kaminari exclaimed. And it makes sense to have the strongest Pikachu of all time to be used. Is this Pikachu unique? Momo asked, confused. It sure is. Mina nodded. Normally, Pikachus aren't all that stronger than a regular not fully evolved Pokemon Dash. But this Pikachu sure did take the cake as the alpha of its species. Kyuka finished Mina's sentence. Aka the boy that never ages. Boomstick joke. I know, right? Zero exclaimed. Like, isn't the show still going on right now? Like, how old should he realistically be? I think the show is on its 200th season thus far. Okoyami said. And despite being centuries old, he's still 10 years old. Ida, Momo, and Todoroki had absolutely no idea what their classmates were talking about, growing more confused with everything they said. Background. Height. 0.4 meters/1 foot 4 inch. Weight 6.0 kilograms per 13.2 pounds. Type electric. Gender male. Ability static. Pokédex number 25. Dislikes his Pokeball. Likes ketchup. Can absorb and use more electric power than a normal Pikachu. Pikachu is now Ash's most loyal and trusted companion, but he sure didn't start out that way. He was actually kind of a dick. Boomstick revealed. Then again, if an immortal 10-year-old was trying to trap me in a tiny ball and make me fight other creatures to the death, I'd probably fuck him up too. So what is the premise of Pokemon? Ida asked. It sounds rather inhumane from what Boomstick is implying. Pokemon is a game all about capturing magical monsters called Pokemon, train them to grow stronger, and then use them to fight other Pokemon from other trainers and become the best. Shui answered. That sounds barbaric. Ida exclaimed, astonished and horrified, arms chopping up and down again. And this is a game made for children. Oh, it's all right, Ida. Uraraka eased the blue-haired teen. It's just a joke, talked a lot about the game and franchise. You shouldn't think too hard on it. Plus, in the anime of it, most of the Pokemon generally like battling and see it as a sport like boxing or wrestling. Koda spoke up. It's actually my favorite game series of all time. I always loved animals, especially because of my quirk, but the games really made me respect and treat animals better and kinder. Ah, I see. Ida's energy deflated and sat back down, fixing up his glasses. If a game can instill such a sentiment, then I suppose it isn't as barbaric as I thought. I feel like the kid just went from PETA to normal in 10 seconds flat. Pixie Bob chuckled, a sweat drop over her head. Kind of. Mandalay nodded. Being so small, Pikachu has low stamina and physical strength, but more than makes up for it with speed and special attacks. Wiz explained. Special attacks? Todoroki questioned. Special attacks are kind of like more projectile or more magical-based attacks. Jiro replied. Think special attacks like Thunderbolt or Flamethrower that fire a projectile at the enemy. So this Pikachu is like a glass cannon. Momo said. Can take damage easily but uses its speed and ranged abilities to defeat opponents. Pretty much. Pony nodded. Plus he's so adorable. However, his EV training was arbitrary and inconsistent. EV what now? Boomstick questioned, confused. Wait, EV like EV? Mina questioned. I thought you knew about the game already. Kyuka questioned, eyebrow raised. Well, excuse me for just being a casual player that doesn't know everything about Pokemon. Mina defended herself. Effort value training was clarified. Every time a Pokemon wins a battle, one of its abilities improves depending upon the opponent. Huh, that was something I didn't know when I played. Tsuka perked up. So is that why sometimes one of my Pokemon would have different stats compared to another one of the same species? That or you or that other Pokemon you had just had different stats. Satsuna shrugged. This is ridiculous. Endeavor groaned. We are here learning about potential allies and threats from this multiverse, and here we are discussing about games for children. Well, it turns out that this children's game full of dangerous city-destroying monsters is real somewhere in some other universe. So isn't it wise to know of it more in case some big bad from that world decides to come here and sick a Gyarados up our butts? Miruko asked, smirking knowingly. Endeavor stared at the bunny hero in silence before scoffing and turning back to the screen. Statistics. HP 102 equals below average. Attack 144 equals average. Defense 100 equals below average. Special attack 123 equals average. Special defense 80 equals below average. Speed 291 equals above average. Taking the first seasons of the show into account, we have compiled a close enough estimation of Pikachu's statistics upon reaching his maximum level. Wiz explained. By defeating so many Spearow early on, all at once, Pikachu's speed stats are off the charts. So Pikachu is so fast because of defeating all those bird Pokemon. Momo asked. Yeah, but Pikachus were already really fast, so that was just a big help. Kaminari answered. I feel like I just got sent to another universe where Kaminari knows something Momo doesn't. Kyuka shook her head. Hey, I'm smart. Kaminari protested through the laughs. I just use my brain for other things. Other, more wasteful things. Aizawa spoke, raising the laughter more. This game sounds really fun. Eri exclaimed. Can I play too, Papa? Before Izuku could answer, Kuta spoke. I have a bunch of those games, some I don't play as much, and I have an extra console, so you can play with mine if you want? Kuta asked nervously and blushing. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Eri cheered and grabbed Kuta's hand and shook it up and down in gratitude. Kuta blushed heavily from sheer embarrassment. He almost ripping his hand out from the white-haired girl, still trying to get used to more social interactions, but felt a hand pat his head. Kuta looked up to see Midoriya patting his head. The green-haired teen's happy eyes and proud smile, all Kuta needed to know that his idol was proud of his generosity and kindness. Kuta smiled, blushing again in self-pride. Mandalay likewise smiled proudly and joyfully, looking down at the two from her seat. The telepathic heroine could remember her anger-filled nephew's antisocialness, even before the deaths of his parents, which only increased it. She remembered how he would more likely bite a kid's hand rather than play with them. So to see him now offering one of his games for the little girl to play with made the aunt well up with happiness and motherly joy, and felt untold gratitude towards the green-haired hero in training that made it all possible. Moveset: Thunderbolt. Type: Electric, Special Attack. -10% chance of paralyzing target. Thunder. Type: Electric, Special Attack. -30% chance of paralyzing target. Low accuracy. Quick Attack. Type: Normal, Physical Attack. Increased priority over opponent's attack. Tail. Type: Steel, Physical Attack. -10% chance of lowering target's defense. Electro Ball. Type: Electric, Special Attack. Deals more damage to slower targets. Volt Tackle. Type: Electric, Physical Attack. Deals 33% recoil damage to Pikachu. -10% chance of paralyzing target. The little lightning rat isn't just quick. He's got two incredibly powerful weapons built into his face. Boomstick jumped in. Those aren't just rosy cheeks, they're electricity sacks, which he uses for attacks like his trademark Thunderbolt and Thunder, each one capable of paralyzing the opponent, though the Thunderbolt is his go-to since with the Thunder having really low accuracy. Wait, how is one bolt of lightning easier to dodge than the other one? Todoroki asked. Is it because the other has more power? Honestly, I would say that to not overthink too much of it since it's a video game, fiction. Melissa replied. But since it's here, then it must mean that it exists out there in some alternate universe. Not really fictitious anymore, so just say it's magic, and magic is complicated to understand. Wait, is Pikachu a he? Kyuka questioned. That's a bit of presumptuous. Well, Pikachu is a male. Koda spoke up. The end of his tail. Koda pointed at the rectangular end of Pikachu's lightning bolt tail. The rectangular ends mean that he's a male Pikachu, while a female Pikachu has a tail with a heart-shaped end. Oh my fucking god. No one cares whether that Pikachu has a dick or a vag. Bakugo exclaimed, fully annoyed. Just shut up, let the video continue, and move on. While her eyebrow twitched in slight annoyance, Kyuka admitted that the blunt teen was right and just let the video continue. And when those electric type won't do the trick, especially against the immune ground types, he can use the extra fast quick attack to surprise his foes, or Iron Tail, a steel type attack, which turns his tail hard as steel. Wiz added. Types? Ida questioned. In Pokemon, all Pokemon are classified into one or two of 18 different types, all of which have different resistances, strengths, and immunities to each other. Izuku answered. Electric types like Pikachu have more access to electric type move, which are strong against water and flying types, but are weak towards ground types and deal no damage to them with electric type attacks. I see. Ida replied, hand cupping his chin in thought. Objects are electrified more easily and dangerously when exposed to non-distilled water, and electricity must not deal damage to these ground types because of electrical grounding. Exactly. Uraraka nodded, smiling and patting the teen's shoulder. You catch on quick, Ida. With that brain of yours, you could be a great Pokemon trainer or professor. Electro Ball is a projectile that, for some reason, deals more damage the slower an opponent is. Boomstick jumped back in. But when things get serious, he'll bust out his greatest and unique attack, the Volt Tackle. Pika 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 pika. Pikachu cried out as his body was encased in wild yellow electricity and slammed into a large weird machine, shredding through it and destroying it. Oh yeah, forgot that those adorable little monsters can actually cause a lot of damage with their abilities. Ragdoll said. I wonder how our world would be if we had Pokemon. The Volt Tackle strikes with the force of a mouse-powered megaton warhead and is Pikachu's strongest attack, but there's a catch. Wiz explained. Pikachu receives recoil damage equaling 33% of the total damage dealt. This move cannot be used lightly. Well, that's dumb. It's like, hey, I can kill you, but I'm gonna blow off my arm. Boomstick scoffed. That's kinda weird. Ash said, a confused look on his face. The group all turned towards one certain, nervously sweating, bone-breaking teen. Anything you want to say to that, Midori? Mina teased, smiling. I don't do it that much anymore, guys. Izuku defended weakly. I've gotten more control of my quirk. And yet you still somehow end up breaking your bones by going too far. Shui croaked. You really do take plus ultra to the next level. I should thank you, Sorahiko. Recovery Girl said to her fellow short elder. If it weren't for you teaching him to control his quirk more safely, I fear that he would have lost the use of his arms months ago. Well, I wasn't going to let tall, blonde and skinny here disgust me with his horrible teaching. Gran Torino replied, said former #1 pro slumping depressed. Gran Torino looked back down to the blushing and nervous ninth holder of One for All with a more saddened and weary look. Plus, it was the least I could do. Not to just help the kid, but to preserve and safeguard Nana's legacy. Regardless, Ash's Pikachu is astounding. He's like a living battery, weaponized. Was said, befuddled. Feats. Strong against flying and water types foes. Developed thunder armor move. Developed counter shield move. Developed mid-air spin dodge. Beaten Drake's Dragonite with help. Defeated Brandon's Regice alone. Tied/beaten Tobias's Latios. Defeated Cornus Mega Lucario. Team Rocket's worst nightmare. Not only can he discharge an enormous amount of power, he can also absorb electricity and use it against his foes. Wiz continued. In fact, he can conduct more wattage than any normal Pikachu, making him one of the toughest of his kind, and the sole purpose for the infamous Team Rocket to constantly attempt to steal him. So that's why they would use this Pikachu out of all the others of its kind. Momo nodded, understanding. And why a group of criminals would wish to capture it. And we all know how those attempts always end up, Boomstick said. Team Rockets blasting off again. Jessie, James, and Meowth yelled as they sailed through the horizon and vanished in a shimmering star. Ahahaha! Setsuna burst out laughing, wiping away a tear from her eyes. Oh, never gets old. Are they going to be okay? Momo asked, slightly worried of the fates of the criminals. Oh, don't worry, silly. They'll be fine and ready to try and steal Pikachu again the next episode. Nijire reassured the rich girl. Pikachu is clearly the strongest of all Pikachus. Wiz continued. He can go toe-to-toe and defeat multiple powerful Pokemon, even Mega Evolutions, and even tank and survive the Thunderstrike of the very legendary Electric-type Pokemon, Zekrom. That furball took a blast from that? Kamakiri exclaimed. The group witnessing the Black Dragon/Electric-type legendary unleash a massive bolt of blue lightning down onto the foot-tall Pokemon. I thought you also liked Pokemon, Kamakiri? Shoda asked. I thought you watched the anime. I do, and I did watch it, but I dropped out after Sinnoh. Kamakiri explained. From what I heard about the Unova part of the anime, it was garbage, so I didn't bother jumping back into it. What is a legendary Pokemon? Todoroki asked. Before Green starts mumbling into a long rant, Kyuka said. Some of Class 1A snickering while Izuku sweat drops. Legendary Pokemon are like super rare, mostly ultra-powerful Pokemon. In the world of Pokemon, they are practically like gods. Todoroki nodded. So this Zekrom could be considered a god among electric types like Pikachu, he said. And so to take a blast from a stronger electric type is quite incredible. Yeah, but he's got his limits, Boomstick pointed out. Get too much electricity stored up and boom. No more Pikachu. Ugh, I don't want to think of that. Pony screamed, trying to erase the image of Pikachu exploding out of her mind. I fear that this could be how Pikachu might be defeated against this Blanka, if he is to lose. Reiko said. Probably. Yui shrugged. Weaknesses. Small and fragile. Little solo battle experience. Susceptible to overcharge. Poor defense against ground-type-based attacks. Electric-type attacks weak against dragon, grass, and fellow electric types. And immune to ground types. Refuses to evolve. It's true. Pikachu is still a tiny mouse Pokemon with very clear limits. Mainly type disadvantages, especially with ground types. Wiz agreed. And even though he has long since reached his maximum potential, he refuses to evolve into the vastly superior Raichu, due to some pretentious excuse of love and acceptance. What a waste of potential. Can you imagine how powerful he could be as a Raichu? That is freaking bullshit. Bakuga yelled, agreeing with the mad scientist of Death Battle. What's the point of keeping yourself a weaker state if you could get stronger and more powerful? Well, for one, you could end up like one of those Nomu. Shinso spoke up. Bakuga grew silent, eyes twitching annoyed and still angry. All Might and the heroes frowned at the memory of the mindless abominations of the League of Villains, many of them on the receiving end of a Nomu's rampage. Suddenly, All Might couldn't help but recall Sir Night Eye and his frequent attempt of convincing him to choose young Togata as his successor, instead of Midoriya. He remembered several of Sir's points, ranging from how the boy was similar to him, both of appearance wise and personality, to even the boy's charm and likeliness to become a popular hero in the eyes of the public. However, the argument that he recalled at this moment was how Sir claimed that with One for All and Mirio's permeation quirk, the boy would be unstoppable, more powerful than giving it to a weaker, quirkless teenage boy. Sir said that it was the logical choice. But it's not about power or the logical choice. All Might thought, thinking over how his master gave One for All to him. If it was about giving it to some with a powerful quirk, then I would not have been the ideal choice either. But my master saw something in me, something that made her choose me above everyone else. Heart. The heart of a true hero. And just like my master saw it in me, I saw it in young Midoriya, a heart of a hero, one with far more potential and promise than I ever had. All Might looked as Midoriya tried to comfort the annoyed Bakugo, only for the explosive teen to lash out his anger-filled roars at him instead. But instead of cowering, Izuku just chuckled, nervously, and smiled. All Might smiled as well. Sometimes the most illogical of choices can be the most logical. All Might thought. Well, that's because they can't have the mascot of the show, and all of Pokemon, turn into his less popular persona. Boomstick argued. But even if he doesn't evolve, Pikachu's accomplished quite a lot of impressive feats on his own. He's beaten legendary Pokemon like Brandon's Regice, and tied with Tobias's Latios, the latter of which had strong defense against electric-type attacks. He has also developed new and unique fighting techniques like the counter shield and midair spin dodge. He may be the size of a squirrel, but he's one tough fighter. Yeah, that fight between Pikachu and Latios was sick, Zero said. And when Ash's Sceptile actually managed to defeat Darkrai. Ugh, don't remind me of that. Kaminari groaned. That fight was freaking rigged against Ash. The show literally just added that guy in just to get Ash to lose. Pikachu. Pikachu called out adorably. Oh, was the response of over 90% of the female population of the room, and Coda. The next fighter shown was a large green-shinned man with one of the wildest mane of hair they had ever seen. Even slouched, the green-skinned, shirtless man looked taller than some of the adults, although perhaps some of that height was attributed the wild man of orange, spiky mane of hair, so long that it reached down the middle of his back. To the group, it resembled more like hedgehog quills, like Sonic. The wild-looking man likewise had large amounts of orange body hair sprouting around his arms and his chest. The green man was almost entirely naked, with the only clothing being a pair of brown ripped pants that looked like shorts to the large beast of a man. The man did look like a beast given his large fangs and incisors and his clawed hands and feet. The members of Class 1B, sans Jirota and Tetsu, looked at each other and nodded in agreement that their own beastly classmate was assuredly this beast man's counterpart, given their similar height and wild appearance. Tetsu was exempt from this, as he and Kirishima were more focused on how muscled and strong-looking that wild man looked, and admiring his lush of mane of wild hair. Kirishima patted his own hair, wondering how he would look if he had longer hair like the green beast man. Blanka. As a child, Jimmy Blanka was a pale-skinned Brazilian boy. Was started. That is, until the horrific plane crash dash. Like Lost, Boomstick interrupted. Of which he was the sole survivor, stranded in the Amazon. Was finished. That's horrible. Hagakure cooed sadly. And to be stranded in the Amazon too. Must have been extra awful. But what made him go from pale-skinned boy to some green Sasquatch? Mina asked. Background. Height. 1.92 meters / 6 foot 3.5 inch. Weight. 98 kilograms for 217 pounds. Real name, James Jimmy Blanka. Hobbies. Hunting, electrical work. Previously pale-skinned, now green. Friends with Dan and Sakura. Survived in Amazon for years. Passive and gentle. Trapped in an area filled with dangerous predators, he was forced to camouflage himself day and night. Wiz continued. After many years of this, his skin absorbed enough chlorophyll to turn a permanent green hue. Wait, that's how? Kyuka questioned incredulously. I just thought that too much of the stuff can give you diarrhea. Normally, if you ingest too much liquid chlorophyll, that is one of the side effects, along with sweating, vomiting, and green-colored stool, Momo said. But that's by ingesting chlorophyll. But I'm also certain that camouflaging yourself with it shouldn't turn your skin green too. Really? I always thought he was just some kind of jungle monster beast guy. Boomstick admitted. He might as well be. Monoma said. Poor boy must have become so savage living alone in wilderness like an animal. Despite his appearance, Blanka is actually extremely passive and gentle. Was said, showing Blanka passing by frightened citizens. Gently and timid. Aw, he's actually kind of cute. Pony cooed. He's almost like Shishida. Jirota blushed at the head pats of Pony and the girls of 1B. Please girls stop and let's continue with the video. Jirota politely said. However, piss him off, and he enters an unstoppable bloodlust. Was pointed out, showing Blanka again, but savage and angry. Well, that seems like a pretty drastic change. Boomstick said. He's like a big teddy bear that suddenly turned into an actual bear. Also like our Shishida. Sun whispered to Aways. I heard that. Jirota replied. So you believe that this Blanka may be my multiversal counterpart? No offense, Jirota, but it kind of seems obvious. Suka said. Jirota looked at himself and then at the savage yet gentle green man and hummed. I can see why you would come to that conclusion. His savagery and rage could be considered similar to my quirk. Jirota replied. I have my doubts, but we shall see by the end when the results come in. But before he was old enough to fight the predators himself, he was forced to live off electric eels as his primary food source. Wiz revealed. After years of this diet, he developed a high resistance to electricity and somehow gained the ability to produce similar electric shocks. Huh? Bakugu questioned. How does that make sense? Perhaps like his body developed a green hue from exposure to chlorophyll. His body likewise consumed and adapted to the specialized electrolytes in electric eels that he began to produce similar electrolytes like eels to generate this amount of electricity. Although, since eels harm themselves when using their electricity, does Blanka also feel pain when he uses his electricide dash? "Shut your annoying muttering, stupid DKU." Bakuga yelled at the mumbling teen. "Be right back. Getting eels." Boomstick yelled, his muffled audio hinting at beginning to leave. "No, Boomstick, it doesn't work like that," Wiz shouted at his leaving co-host. "Plus, we kind of have a show to do." "Fine, but afterwards I'm proving you wrong." Boomstick returned and swore. "Okay," Wiz said. "Actually, maybe Boomstick has a point," Kaminari said. "Maybe if I eat some more electric eels then I could generate and produce more electricity to use without shorting out." Kaminari, I don't think that would be the wisest way to dash." Let him try, Momo." Kyuka cut the Yaoyorozo heiress off. "With his quirk it might work, but if not, just think of how funny it would be." "Hey Tamaki, you've eaten eel before, right?" Mirio asked his shy friend. "Could you produce electricity too?" "Why yes, but it always hurt to do it," Tamaki stuttered out, rubbing his chest at the phantom pains. "It was so unpleasant, and it tasted slimy and weird." Blanka eventually found his way to civilization by complete accident, and found a friend in Dan Hibiki, the absolute worst street fighter on Earth. Wiz said, "Ah Dan." Boomstick sighed fondly and amused. "Couldn't get any real people friends, so you had to resort to Jungle Frankenstein over here." "He even looks pitiful," Monoma snickered. "And looks ridiculous in that pink GI. His whole appearance reeks of mediocrity and arrogance." "Takes one to know one," Shinso retorted, causing the students to explode in laughter and Monoma to nearly explode in rage and embarrassment. After arriving in the city, Blanka entered the Second World Warrior Tournament and discovered he was one of the most agile competitors there, leaping and ducking around his opponents with ease, like a jungle monkey, which is basically what he is. Wiz continued, while Izuku started writing down Blanka's acrobatic feats for training later. Itsuka spoke up with, "I think this Blanka guy lives in the same world as Chun-Li and Zangief." "How do you figure, Kendo?" Hananuki asked. "Well, other than the screen showing him fighting against those two characters," Itsuka pointed out, Hananuki rubbing his neck embarrassed. They called both Chun-Li and Blanka street fighters in their introductions, and they seemed to be competing in the same kind of tournaments as each other and Zangief. "Excellent deduction skills, Kendo," Vlad King exclaimed proudly. "That's how smart my class's class president is." "And you wonder why Monoma is so competitive against Class 1A," Midnight said. "Moveset: Amazon River Run, Rock Crusher, Electric Thunder." Kaminari found this extremely redundant. "Beast Roll, Vertical Beast Roll, Backstep Beast Roll." He uses a self-taught martial art, which he learned while fighting friggin' crocodiles and jaguars, that's what, Boomstick exclaimed. He has several unique attacks, like the Beast Roll, with which he hurtles through the air like a bullet, obliterating all laws of physics. Wiz revealed, "I dunno which jaguar or crocodile taught him that move, but shit, I want it." Boomstick exclaimed again excitingly. "I'm pretty sure crocodiles don't jump in the air and roll around to attack," Rin said. "Actually, Mr. Hiryu, crocodiles do in fact roll as a form of attack." Mizu spoke up. "They roll around to thrash their caught or dead prey against rocks and hard areas to break apart their carcass for easier consumption. Additionally, jaguars are the most acrobatic and nimble among the cat family. So Mr. Blanka's fight style of acrobatics seem reasonably founded in reality." I guess so," Rin shrugged. "Honestly, Blanka looks like he's copying that Sonic guy's homing spin attacks," Sin said. "Or Sonic is mimicking Blanka," Bondo said. "Super moves: Grand Shave Roll, Chargeable Spin Attack, Shout of Earth, can electrify the ground or shoot a bolt of electricity straight up. Lightning Cannonball, Electric Spin Attack. That aside, he's also got a few super moves." Boomstick continued. The ground shave roll is a chargeable spin attack, and with Shout of Earth, Blanka can fire off a wave of uncontrollable electric energy. But you really gotta watch out for the lightning cannonball, where he rockets forward as spinning ball of electric death. KO! An announcer voice declared as he slammed his lightning cannonball onto Balrog and won. That looks like it will compete against Pikachu's Volt Tackle. Ryukyu analyzed. From what I saw, the Volt Tackle might be more powerful, yet this lightning cannonball appears to lack recoil effects, which could be more useful. Ectoplasm also analyzed. Weaknesses: preferably docile, susceptible to cold, never won a tournament. Only formal training came from Dan Hibiki. Blanka is a deadly fighter and obviously an extremely tough survivor. However, his greatest weakness comes from his lack of formal training, was pointed out. Well, I would think that living your life in middle of jungle with no senseis or boxers would mean no actual training, Satsuna said. In fact, the only training he's ever had was under the tutelage of... Guess. Was paused for dramatic effect. Don't say it. Boomstick groaned disappointingly. Dan Hibiki. Was confirmed. That's like anti-training. Boomstick said. Ouch. Siro said. That's gotta suck. But that Dan guy can't be that bad, right? Unbeknownst to the group, millions of people across the multiverse, including the watcher of this universe, all started laughing. Feats. Grew up alone in the Amazon. Honed skills against predators. Found his long-lost family. Local hero. Represented Brazil in the Second World Warrior Tournament. Immune to most viruses. And yet, he has proven his combat skills time and time again, was said. Though he did not win the World Warrior Tournament, he was picked from hundreds to represent Brazil. That's quite the impressive achievement. All Might nodded in approval. And through it all, he rediscovered his mother and hometown, was said, showing Blanka reuniting with his mother. Her hand on his own monstrous one. At long last, Blanka had come home. Oh! The girls cooed once more at the heartwarming scene. The guys likewise smiled at the touching reunion. Todoroki smiled as well, remembering to his first visit to his mother at her mental hospital. Her heartwarming smile, her kind eyes, her welcoming, motherly love, all much like Blanka's mother had with her long-lost son. Most terrifying family reunion ever. Boomstick joked. Blanka laughed and smiled as he jumped and played with children on his back and hanging onto his arm. Alright, the combatants are set, Wiz declared. Let's end this debate once and for all. It's time for a death battle, Boomstick yelled. The video paused once more as votes and bets started coming in while the device scanned for counterparts. For Pikachu, the most notable of votes came from Kaminari, voting for his nickname and praying for counterpart Eri, who found the electric mouse Pokemon adorable, Izuku and Mirio, both of which were compelled by Eri. And with the former a fan of Pokemon and Pikachu's similar recoil abilities, Koda, an obvious choice being the Pokemon fan that he was, Gran Torino, who liked the Pokemon small, yet fast similarity, Nijire, who liked Pikachu's powerful electric type attacks, Ida, who favored Pikachu's amazing speed, Uraraka, whose reasons were similar to Ida's, Mina. Another vote based on adorableness and speed, Shoto, convinced that Pikachu might win by absorbing Blanka's electricity, and Hagakure. Blanka's most notable voters included Jirota, who found Blanka's fight style impressive and backstory inspiring, Kirishima and Tetsu, for Blanka's impressive feat of surviving in the Amazon and mane of hair, Monoma and Bakugu, both finding the thought of Pikachu winning this fight against the large beast man absurd, Momo, who felt that Jirota's size, strength, and electricity resistance too much for Pikachu, Kyuka, who followed Momo's line of thinking, Tamaki, who liked Blanka's eel-based electric powers and surviving in the Amazon, Kuta, who found Blanka more cooler than Pikachu, Pony, confident that Jirota was Blanka and because she found the green-skinned beast man's gentleness adorable, Endeavor, much for the same reason as Monoma and Bakugu, and Itsuka, who also believed that Blanka was Jirota and so to support her classmate. Multiversal counterparts detected, the device declared. Pikachu. Specifying. Ash's Pikachu. Thanks for the clarification, Sen sarcastically said to the chuckles of the students. Please, 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 please. Kaminari thought on repeat, fingers crossed and pleading. Multiversal counterpart. Denki Kaminari. The device announced. Yes, Kaminari screamed in joy. I knew it, I knew it. If you knew it so much, why were you crossing your fingers and praying? Mineta asked. Because I thought I was going to be at least Thor or Raiden in their fight, and I got my glory stolen by All Might of all people. Kaminari defended himself, while the supposed glory stealer sweat dropped and scratched his cheek. Blanka. Multiversal counterpart. Jurota Shishida. I knew it, I knew it. Pony clapped and jumped in excitement. We all knew it, Pony. Aways clarified. But upon the saddened look that Pony became and the glares from his classmates, Aways quickly said, Yep, you knew it, Pony. Yay! Pony's mood went a full 180 and became happy again. Jurota thought over his counterpart and his hard life and felt his sympathy and respect go out to his other self for surviving through such a hard life. Thinking back to how Blanka and his mother were reunited, now imaging it as reuniting with his own mother, Jurota smiled warmly, reminding himself to give his wonderful mother a big hug the next time he visits. With the counterparts out of the way, the video unpaused and began the fight. The scene takes place in a clearing in the middle of a forest, presumably the Amazon. Out of a pixelated bit of tall grass, Pikachu pokes his head out and jumps out into the clearing. Ah, I love that! Nijire squealed and clapped. It's like in the grass in the games. A couple of trees are shaking until Blanka jumps out and lands facing Pikachu, the electric mouse Pokemon dropping onto its paws, ready to battle, while Blanka pounds his chest and lets out a bestial call. Fight. Blanka starts off the fight with a lunging attack on Pikachu that knocks him backwards. Blanka continues the assault with a series of jabs, swipes and kicks, knocking the electric rat back with every strike. Ooh, that's bad, Melissa said. With his low defense, Pikachu is going to take those hits hard, giving Blanka a big lead. Blanka rushed and tried to grab the electric Pokemon in a hold, but Pikachu jumped backwards into the air. Pikachu! Pikachu cried out as it unleashed a powerful thunderbolt at Blanka, who braced for the attack. When the attack ended, Blanka got back up, completely unharmed. Not good enough, Blanka yelled out. Well, that's bad. Zero stated the obvious. Pikachu's thunderbolt seems to have had no effect on Blanka, Ida said. Could it be Blanka's resistance to electricity? Has to be, Shui said. While I wouldn't say that Blanka is an electric type since he's not a Pokemon, but I would think that trying to shoot electricity at someone resistant and able to fire electricity would be a bad idea. So this fight will ultimately boil down to physical power, something Pikachu is not good at. Izuku analyzed. Blanka crouches, fires himself off at the mid-air Pikachu with a beast roll. Pika! Pikachu cried out in pain as it flew back through the air and down to the ground. Ooh, that's gotta hurt. Kirishima cringed. Come on, mini Pokemon me. Kaminari cheered on. Whoop that green jungle man's ass. Pikachu quickly gets back on his feet and charges at Blanka with a quick attack, a trail of white light left in his speedy trail. The companion of Ash flies by the blocking Blanka multiple times, before hitting him head-on and knocking him back. That's smart. All Might nodded. He used his incredible speed to find a weak spot in Blanka's defense and strike hard and fast once he found it. Pikachu follows up the attack by quickly jumping back into the air and starts to spin, his tail glowing white with the move Iron Tail, and strikes at Blanka in the head. Pikachu rushes at Blanka again, grabs him up and starts to roll him backwards before throwing him upwards. I don't recall Pikachu ever having a grappling move like that, or being strong enough to grab someone like Blanka, Uraraka said, scratching her head in confusion. Is every attack in Pokemon some move they have to learn like you said? Todoroki asked. In the games, yes, but in the anime, they are more loose with what constitutes an attack or skill, like the mid-air spin dodge. Izuku answered. This is likely just Pikachu fighting normally. Blanka, in the air, sticks his feet downward, rapidly accelerating his descent and grabs Pikachu instead. He does the same attack as Pikachu did, but when the Pokémon fell towards him, Blanka strikes with his electric thunder move. His whole body wrapped in a field of electricity at Pikachu, only for Pikachu to retaliate with a powerful thunder attack on the still target, the resulting burst of electricity knocking the both backwards. That move looked like thunder, Mirio pointed out. A smart move to use his more powerful, less accurate move on a target standing still. While Blanka lands roughly, Pikachu lands on his feet and quickly follows it up with another thunderbolt. Blanka simply blocks it again, the attack once more doing non-effective damage, and charges at Pikachu with another beast roll. Instead of running or dodging, Pikachu charges at him as well and jumps towards him, but uses the midair spin dodge technique to dodge the attack. Upon landing, Blanka looks around, confused as to where his opponent went. Pikachu, meanwhile, charges up and fires an electro ball. Blanka barely get a chance to look between his legs behind him before getting hit by the attack and falling down. That was the midair spin dodge, right? Momo asked, to the nods of her classmates. That was a good move, as he left Blanka disoriented and open for that electro ball attack, which must have done more damage since Blanka is clearly slower than Pikachu. What was it you and Bakugo said about the small, weak little rat having any chance at winning against Blanka? Setsuna teasingly mocks a fuming Monoma. Clearly, Pikachu is the more strategic fighter, being trained by Ash and all, while Blanka's subpar training from Dan is putting him at a disadvantage. Itsuka analyzed. Pikachu taunted and gave out a peace sign. Ahaha, Mina laughed. Oh my god, he's taunting. Isn't that a move in Pokemon as well? Uraraka asked. It's a move to taunt your opponents. Ida asked further. Yeah, it's actually called taunt, Izuku replied. It's a dark type move that doesn't do damage, obviously, but makes the opposing foe unable to use status Movi Dash. Shut up, you stupid nerd. Hook cuts deck off. Blanka jumps back up, roaring in rage. He jumps up and spins around, rolling and charging up another spin attack, while sparking in electricity. It's his lightning cannonball attack, Pony pointed out. Go Jirota! Blanka fires off towards Pikachu with a lightning cannonball, to which Pikachu responds by running towards the attacks. His own body encased in electricity with a Volt Tackle. Yeah, go me. Use Volt Tackle. Kaminari cheered on again. The attacks collide together, a massive surge of electricity flying everywhere in a blinding white light. The fight is zoomed in to see Pikachu and Blanka firmly keeping their attacks going, pushing back against the other, the Pokemon theme music sounding epic. Only for it to cut off as Blanka grabs Pikachu and bites his head off. Ayaha! The students yell in horror. Izuku and Mirio were as quick as lightning covering Eri and Kuta's eyes. The most high-pitched girliest shriek emanating from Kaminari, the wailing teen cradling his own head, as if it was eaten, which it technically was. Even the adults were caught off guard by the sudden gory turn, blinking in surprise, and others disgust. Blanka then pulls out a blender from nowhere, and puts the rest of Pikachu's body in it. The man-beast plugs the plug into his nose and powers up the machine as it shredded Pikachu's headless body into a drink. Blanka finally stops and drinks what's been made, belches loudly, sparks of electricity shooting out, and then starts scratching his chin. KO. It was lucky that Momo had, precautionarily, made several dozen barf bags before the start of this wave of death battles, most of the students and Mike using them to good use. Koda was bawling his eyes out. Kaminari straight up fainted, and even Jirota looked completely shell-shocked at what his jungle self just did. The only happy reactions were Monoma taunting victoriously at Setsuna, which was silenced by a chop to the back of the neck, courtesy of Itsuka, and Bakugo roaring in laughter, only for a disapproving look from Ibra made him stop somehow. You know, I've always wanted to eat a Pokemon. Boomstick admitted to the silence of an unseen audience. What? They look delicious. That is horrible, Momo gasped out. Why would they do such a thing? Yamamo. Kyuka brought Momo's attention to her. There are presumably no other animals or creatures in the Pokemon world other than Pokemon and people. So what do they eat for meat? Momo paused in silence, her features slowly scrunching in disgust and horror. Well, I don't exactly blame Boomstick, Sato said to the gazes of the group. What? There is literally a Pokemon that is a cake and another that looks like ice cream. Actually, speaking of that, Tamaki, do you think if you can eat a Pokemon like Pikachu, you could use the moves and powers of a Pokemon? Nijire asked. Amajiki's response was a green face and another round of puke to the throw-up bag. Pikachu. Inconsistent glass cannon. Improper training. Too reliant on trainer commands. Resistant to electric attacks. Much faster. Lower stamina and strength. Pikachu may be powerful, but he can't compete with Blanka's ruthless skill and strength, was said. Even though Pikachu was clearly quicker on his feet, his attacks had little effect. Boomstick agreed. Blanka. Better survival skills. Resistant to electric and steel attacks. Longer reach. Quick enough to keep up. Better stamina and strength. Has experience killing small animals. More lethal. Blanka can resist the electric attacks, and the Iron Tail's a steel-type move, which, as we all know, is not very effective against electricity. Boomstick pointed out. And even though Blanka is not a Pokemon, so type matchups shouldn't matter, the Iron Tail would only be considered to Blanka, a stronger and more defensive fighter, as a hard smack in the head from a physically weak mouse Pokemon. Wiz explained further. Okay, I was about to argue against bringing in types into it, but that makes sense, Melissa said. Pikachu's only option was to outmatch Blanka's physical strength and stamina, which was just too much for the little guy. Boomstick agreed again. Pikachu's greatest strengths were his special electric attacks and the Volt Tackle, all of which would be resisted by Blanka's resistance to electricity. Oyama nodded. And while Blanka couldn't use his own electricity against Pikachu well either, his physique and strength were largely superior. This somewhat reminds me of our fight against each other in the joint training class, Jirota said to an awoken Kaminari, the two remembering their battle against each other's team. Kaminari easily overpowering him in strength and Kaminari in his electricity. Yeah, only you weren't electricity-proof, Kaminari grumbled. And despite keeping a clear head and being more strategic than Blanka, Pikachu rarely shows any exemplary competence or aptitude on his own either. Wiz continued. Many of his greatest achievements are actually a result of his trainer's quick thinking or even downright luck. Oftentimes, a Pokemon is only as good as the trainer who leads it, Izuku said. It's not all the times, but it's generally how it works in the Pokemon world. Everything was going well, until Pikachu lost his head. Boomstick punned. Not cool, bro. Not cool. Kaminari shook his head, rubbing it. The winner is Blanka, Wiz declared. With the battle over, the Pikachu and Blanka voters shook hands and accepted the results. Jirota and Kaminari shook hands. No hard feelings earned. I'm getting pretty tired of sitting down. Mount Lady yawned and stretched. When is it over for today? I believe that one more fight would be appropriate enough, Nizu replied. After this, we may be adjourned for the day and resume tomorrow. Is that acceptable? The group nodded in agreement. Some of the students disappointed, but most likewise felt rather tired of sitting and watching for so long. Next time on Death Battle, Boomstick announced. The screen was pitch black and silent for a moment until they heard a voice speak out of the darkness. Kami, the voice shouted out. A small whitish blue light appearing and growing and the sound of energy humming in power growing too. Hami! The voice grew louder as the blue light grew larger and started revealing a large S. HHH. The blue light exploded out in white with the voice roaring out loud. The light fully revealing a large S encased in a shield crest. Goku versus Superman. Eyes went wide and full of excitement and sudden awe. Izuku's eyes widened astronomically. Remembrance in his eyes. It's Superman, Izuku pointed out. From Batman's analysis. They called him the strongest hero of all time. Oh shit. You're right, Midobro. Kirishima exclaimed. That's the same S-shield thing that was Superman's chest. But who's Goku? Uraraka questioned. An answer came to Izuku with a sudden mild headache. Damn it. Not again. Izuku internally flinched in pain. It's back. The last time this happened was with Kratos versus Spawn and in Vegeta's analysis. Izuku's eyes widened in realization once more, remembering, and shot up from his seat. Son Goku. Pardon? Todoroki questioned. It's Son Goku, the other fighter. Izuku repeated. He was in Vegeta's analysis, Vegeta's rival. I think the person screaming was also Goku. Eyes widened one after the other as they remembered the appearance and name of Goku, the rival of a planet destroyer like Vegeta. And wait, that attack he was yelling. Nijire pointed out. Kamehameha. Didn't Boomstick say that before too? I think so. Mirio nodded. During the Eggman vs. Wily video, he said that one of Eggman's robots fires Kamehamehas and it was a large laser. I guess that must be what the Kamehameha was. Holy fucking shit. Boomstick screamed. Oh my god. Wiz exclaimed in pure excitement. Quick. Someone give me a motherfucking table to flip. Boomstick screamed again in hype. Jesus, they are excited. Setsuna chuckled. I don't think they were this excited in any of the fights before. Interesting. Nizu hummed. The claimed strongest hero of all time against a rival to a planet-destroying Super Saiyan. Nizu smiled in pure anticipation. I truly can't wait to see what becomes of this. With the urging of the students, May needed no more say and pressed the play button, starting the video.